Welcome student. So Arunava Sir bio class. So I am Arunava Chatterjee. Today we discuss about the last part of the biological classification chapter in our class 11 section. You know, last some classes we discussed about the 5 kingdom classification. But which scientist ultimately proposed this 5 kingdom classification? Right, it is the Whittaker. Whittaker, they classify the living things into the Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Already in that particular chapter we discussed the Monera, Protista and the Fungi in our 3 classes. But now at first today we discuss about the another 2 kingdom, that is the kingdom Plantae and the kingdom Animalia. Just something informative or information about this kingdom, because in later chapters we also will discuss about some details about the kingdom Plantae and the kingdom Animalia. So first of all, you know what is the characteristic features of the kingdom Plantae. Kingdom Plantae means, you know already, this is the most important characteristic features. They are ultimately autotrophic in nature. That means include all plants, their eukaryotic cell. Their cells have the well-defined nucleus, right? On the other hand, they have chlorophyll, so they are green in color. And also very important characteristic features, all the cell wall, all the plants, their cell wall is contain the cellulose, right? So plants are autotrophic in nature, but some plants are heterotrophic in nature also there. But this is the exception. Like you know, some are partially heterotrophic, such as insectivorous plant, because they are autotrophic in nature also, but they are growing the soil where the nitrogen is deficient is there. So the fulfill of nitrogen deficiency, they trap the insect and kill the insect and take the nutrient, mainly proteinous or nitrogenous nutrient from that degrading insect part. So insectivorous plant, most common bladderworts, Venus flytraps are the insectivorous plants. On the other hand, one another plant is a parasitic plant. Parasitic plants, that means they ultimately take the nutrient from the plant, host plant, but this is not the chlorophyll containing plant Cascuta. So they cannot synthesize their own food. They are dependent on others, plant, and taking the food from others. So they are called the parasitic plant, example the Cascuta. Now we discuss about that. Plant kingdom ultimately classify into the different groups. Number 1, it is the algae. Number 2, bryophytes. Number 3, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm. And in the plant kingdom chapter, in the next chapter is there in the this unit. This is the plant kingdom where we are discuss about some details about the algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm. But here one is example that algae, most common one example is Pyroghyra, bryophytes, one example is moss, pteridophytes, their example is fern, gymnosperm, their example, right, pines, and the angiosperm like the mango tree. So all of these things we discuss in our later chapter. This is the Cascuta plant. You see that it is a yellow color, that means not containing the chlorophyll, and they take the nutrient from the living green color host plant. Now the life cycle is very important and very interesting also in the plant, because they have the 2 distinct phases. One is the diploid phase, that means it is the sporophytic phase. On the other hand, the gametophytic phase, it is the haploid phase. And in their life, these 2 cycles are alternately coming to each other. So this is also called the alternation of generation. You know, the length of the haploid and the diploid phase, where this phase are free living or dependent on others, vary among the different groups. That is not the same in every plant, right? So this is the changing, right, haploid and diploid. This is called the alternation of generation. In here you can see that the zygote are formed after the fertilization. Next is sporangiums, that means the sporophyte structure are from there. Next one, due to the meiosis process, the spore are generated. Because in the meiosis process, the chromosome number half, so spore contains the n number of chromosomes. After the spore, they get rich in suitable medium. That time gametogenesis are happening. That means the flower are produced. You know, in the flower, the two type of part is there, androecium and gynoecium, where the male gametes and female gametes are produced, and the fertilization takes place. After that, the zygote are formed. This is called the alternation of generation. It is happening like all the different plants, but their duration is different. The different plant species. Now I can discuss the last kingdom or AIIMS 5 kingdom classification, that is the kingdom Animalia. This is our kingdom. You know, the kingdom Animalia means, at first we discuss just their characteristic features, most common characteristic features. All the members of the animal kingdom are multicellular. That means they have many cells. Like porifera to human beings, they are multicellular structure. All are the heterotrophic in nature. That means they cannot produce one food, they depend on others. Next one, the eukaryotic organism. All the cells have the well-defined nucleus, but they do not have the cell wall. You know, the Protistians group is there. They also be ultimately most important eukaryotic, but unicellular, they have the cell wall. But animal cells, they do not have the cell wall. Next one, directly or indirectly depend on plants for the food. Indirectly means if you are take the animals, some animals things, animal food, that time the animals also depend on plants, so indirectly also they will depend on the plants. So they digest the food in the internal cavity and store food reserve as a glycogen or fat. So if we take the food molecules, this is called the holozoic type of nutrition. Because after the food intake, it is required to digestion. That means it is required to break down. If we are use the all food items, that is okay. But if the food items or food material are excess, that time it is ultimately converted to glycogen and fats and store it in our body. Mode of nutrition show holozoic. That means the ingestion of food. That means the intake the food from other parts, and inside the body, the breakdown or digestion are happening. They have defined growth pattern, because in continuous in their life cycle they cannot grow, right? As like the plants can grow in the continuous their life cycle. But grow into adult, they have the definite shape and size. Every animals have particular shape. That is their very unique characteristic features. And higher forms show sensory and neurotransmittory mechanism. That means they have the sense organ. If you are starting from lower groups to higher groups, that time you observe that the nervous system are developed gradually, but generally all the animal groups have the neurotransmittory mechanism to have they have the sensation power. Most of them are capable of locomotion. That is the unique features. Plants generally do not do the locomotion, right? But animal beings are locomote from one part to another. Main reason is that they are heterotrophic in nature. They require the food. So they ultimately transfer or move from one part to another place for their food searching. So sexual reproduction is very common. So the sexual reproduction, that means the male and female gametes is there, and male and female organism are produced, this male and female gametes. That time the future after that it is the fertilization takes place. So sexual reproduction is the most common in the animal things. So the animal things have great varieties, great variation, because they generally reproduce by the sexual reproduction process. That is the characteristic features of the kingdom Animalia. But in this particular unit, we have another chapter like the animal kingdom, where we discuss the more about the animal kingdom. This information is from the NCERT books in the biological classification syllabus. Now we are going to another topic that is very important for real life, also in our NEET syllabus, that is the virus. Virus have no position in the AIIMS 5 kingdom system. But why they do not get the position of the 5 kingdom classification? Because 5 kingdom classifications are on the cellular organism. Virus have no cells, because when they enter into the host bodies, that time they reproduce, they show the living property, but most commonly they have not the cell. That means the cells have some basic structural features, they have some most important some cell organelles, but generally virus have no such cell organelles, not such cellular structure. So they are acellular in nature, number one property. Second one, virus only reproduce in the living host. So this first property is acellular. Second property are the non-living, living and non-living intermediate things. So they cannot be placed in the five kingdom classification. So but today we discuss about something about the common some information of the virus. You know, the virus, varioids and the lichens, these three topics is there in our NCERT syllabus. So one by one discuss this topic. Number one, the virus. Virus, already we understand that in the five kingdom classification, acellular organism, virus and viroids are the lichens are not maintained, because lichens or lichens also not the cell, because it is a symbiotic association between the two organisms. Also for that reason, the lichens also do not get any position in the five kingdom classification. Virus are non-cellular and do not truly living, so they can not include in the five kingdom classification. So that is the two important point in your MCQs, right? If one option is correct, that time which option you are ultimately take, that time this first option is very important, right? If your MCQs question the two option is there, virus are non-cellular, virus are acellular, that time all these two option is right, so both can be a right option in that particular time. Viruses have the innate crystalline structure, that means they are converted to crystals outside the living cells. Viruses are obligatory parasites, that means they can cause the disease in every time, right? So most important dangerous substance for human beings also. But they do not cause the disease only in the human beings, they can cause the disease in plants, they can cause the disease in animals also, right? So when they infect the cell, they take over the machineries of the host cell and they replicate inside the host cells. After their replication, after formation their copy, virus destroy the host cell, release from the host cell. That is their reproduction pattern, but very dangerous to other animals or other cells. But you know, the virus is a very interesting topic because there have the lots of significance in our natures. So it is required to research on the virus. So different scientists are research on that particular topic, that is the virus. You know, the virus first of one, that is the most important information for your NEET, right? It is all the present in your NCERT books. Number one, Louis Pasteur give the name virus. That means it is a venom or poisonous fluid. That means it is very dangerous. So DJ Ivanetsky in 1892, this year is also very important. They discovered the virus and they recognized the certain microbes that cause the mosaic disease of tobacco, that is first time given by the Ivanetsky. And they were smaller than the bacteria. Why they can prove these things? Because virus ultimately pass through the bacteria through filters, paper. Bacteria cannot pass this filtered paper. So they are very small compared to bacteria. But most important, M.G. Benjamin is 1998. They demonstrated that the extract of the infected plants of the tobacco can cause the infection of healthy plants also. So it is called the fluid. When any plant of tobacco infected by this virus, that time if you are take this infected fluid and like spray it onto the other plant, that time you observe that other plants also be infected. So this fluid is very dangerous, and this fluid is called the infectious living fluids, also be termed like Congenium, Vibrium, Fluidium. But these ultimately words given by M.W. Benjamin, very important questions from NCERT. Last one, the W.M. Stanley in 1935, and they showed that virus could be crystallized. That means they can be converted to crystal. It is also the important point in from the NCERT book. So the scientists' their contributions is most important in your NCERT book. Now we discuss about the structure of the virus. This is the structure of the virus. So virus have a nucleoprotein. Nucleo means the nucleic acid, also have some protein material. Because their genetic material is there, but the protein coat, outer coat is called the capsid. And the genetic material either DNA or RNA, but not the both. It is very important. Protein coat, that is called the capsid, and the genetic material DNA or the RNA. So no virus contain both DNA and RNA. Only one genetic material present. If they contain DNA, so only DNA. If they contain RNA, only RNA. So the genetic material R is very infectious. That means these genetic material DNA only they inserted into the host cell, right? So infectious structure, that is the genetic material. Now another thing is there. So generally virus that infect the plant have a single stranded RNA. Also it is called ssRNA. Means the single stranded RNA. Which virus? Plant virus. Why plant? Because these viruses infect the plant. So another virus, they have the animal virus because they cause the disease of animal. If you are studying this type of virus, you observe that their genetic material is single or double stranded RNA, single or double stranded RNA, and means the or that this is not the common in the one-back virus, or the double stranded RNA. Bacteriophage, that means this virus can infect the bacteria. That the infect the bacteria usually have the double stranded DNA. So now we classify from that point the virus of the three types: plant virus, animal virus, and bacterial virus. Animal virus can infect the animal, plant virus infect the plant, and bacterial virus infect the bacteria. But most important, plant virus ssRNA, animal virus SS or dsRNA or dsDNA, and the bacteriophage dsDNA. So that information also is very important. This is the structure of the bacteriophage. But this protein coat, right, this is called the capsid. If you study the structure of the capsid, you observe that this capsid have a small subunit. This subunit is called the capsomere, right? Capsomere is the single unit, and all part of the covering structure is called the capsid. But what is their importance? Because their importance is that they cover the genetic material, so also they protect the genetic material. So capsomere are arranged in the helical or polyhedral geometric form. Two form is mentioned in the NCERT book: helical or polyhedral geometric structure. Like you observe the influenza virus, like you study like bacteriophage, you observe that polyhedral part. Also helical, like in the TMV virus, tobacco mosaic virus. So you know the virus can cause the disease of the human beings also in animals, also in the plants. But most common virus can cause disease like mumps, like smallpox, like herpes, like influenza, like AIDS. All is the viral disease. You just remember this thing. And in plants, like some mosaic formation, leaf rolling, curling, yellowing of leaves, vein curling, dropping, and the stunted growth, all of the diseases are caused by the virus. So this parts is very important from your NEET point of view, right? How the different types of questions come from that point. In here, the different bacterial diseases are given there, like cholera, right? Cholera is not the viral disease, but mumps, smallpox, herpes, and influenza AIDS are the viral disease. This is the two structure in our NCERT book. This is the structure of the TMD. Here, the RNA is the genetic materials and the capsids is like in the helical pattern. This is the structure of the bacterial part. In here, that is the head part, and this is the collar, this is the seat, and this is the tail fibers. This is the bacteriophage because they kill the bacteria. TMB, these fighters infect the tobacco plants. So different fighters have their structure is very small and their diversity also is there, right? They differ in their structure. Now another terms is coming, very important for your NEET, that is a viroid. Scientists Theodeniers, they observed that one infectious agent with low molecular weight, RNA, no protein coat, this can cause the disease. We understand that fighters have protein code and their genetic material that can cause the disease, but some agent is there in our nature which have only the low molecular weight of RNA. So we cannot define it is a virus because they have no protein code. So that time Theodenier giving the name, this is the viroids. Viroids means they have free low molecular weight of RNA, no protein code, right? So which scientist discovered it? Theodenier. Which year? 1971. But viroids are infect the which plant? Viroids ultimately infect the potato disease, that is called the potato-spindle tuber disease, right? Very important this question. Theodenier, they first discovered the viroids. Now I go to our last topic in the biological classifications, that is the lichens. This is a symbiotic association between algae and fungi, where the both two organisms are benefited. Both two. Algae also be benefited, fungi also be benefited. And you know the alkyl component is called the phycobind because algae are the autotrophic in nature. And the fungal component are called the mycobind. Mycobind means the heterotrophic. Heterotrophic means they cannot produce their own food. So how they are ultimately dependent to each other, how they are benefited to each other. So already we understand that lichens means is a symbiotic association, which is the two organisms, algae and fungi. Algae are autotrophs, they are called the phycobinds. Fungal components are the mycobinds, which is the heterotrophic. But how they ultimately help to each other? Algae prepare food for fungi because fungi are heterotrophic. And fungi provide shelter and absorb the mineral nutrient and water for this partner. So in such manner, both these two organisms are benefited. So it is called symbiotic association. One important significance of lichens that lichens are very good as a pollution indicator. Why?